Hello, this is Stanley Kindall, and I will be demonstrating chromatography using Skittles. The purpose of this lab is to separate the dyes from different color Skittles and determining the RF value for each one. These calculations will also tell me which color of Skittle is the most polar. My materials for this lab will be Skittles, 4 different colors, a roll of tape, an empty water bottle, a coffee filter or a piece of paper, a pencil, scissors, a tray with separate sections, and lastly, 4 Q-tips. I'm going to begin this lab by cutting my chromatography paper into the correct size. My next step is to get my chromatography paper and my pencil and tape them together. In this step, I will also be using another pencil to draw my dots on the chromatography paper. Next, I'll be using my scissors to cut my empty water bottle, and this is what I'll be using as my chromatography chamber. In my next step, I put about 1 centimeter of water in my chromatography chamber, and I also put water in each individual section of my tray. Next, I'll be starting with my first Skittle, which is my purple Skittle. I'm going to put it in one of the individual sections in the tray with the water. As you see in this clip, I'm just going to use my pencil to move the Skittle around in the water to release the dye off the Skittle until it's fully white. And I'm going to repeat that last step with all of my Skittles until they're fully white. You can see the dye released into the water. And next, I'm just going to remove all the Skittles out of the water and place them on a paper towel. I got a little hungry, so I decided that I wanted to eat one of the Skittles. But no. And my next step was just to remove the tips of my Q-tips so I can use them to place the dye on the chromatography paper. All right, in this next step, you'll see me dipping each Q-tip separately, of course, into the water. And to maximize our results, I decided it would be best if I just rub it on the Skittle a little bit to get some more of the dye off of it. And these are other Skittles, but they're the same color. So I decided to get some more dye off of the Skittles, just rub it in the water and rub it across the Q-tip and then put it on my paper. And I did this for each color, as you can see in the video. My next step is to take my chromatography paper that's attached to my pencil and place it just so that the tip of the water touches the tip of the paper. And this will allow the water to rise up and show the chromatography process. So I let it do that and sit for a minute to let the water rise so we can see the chromatography. Lastly, I take my chromatography paper out and lay it across the table. And my last step is to measure how far the solvent traveled up on the paper and measure how far each individual dye traveled up on the paper. And using these calculations, I can determine the polarity. Here's a table of the results from my experiment, and as you can see, the yellow dye traveled the farthest at 1.8 centimeters. I calculated the RF values for each dye and determined that the yellow candy had the lowest polarity due to its highest RF value. This concludes my lab. Thank you for watching.